Inheritance. Art and Story by Desere, Pressey. For 5 years, Penny had been working to resuscitate a marriage long gone blue in the lips. Every new pound around her midsection was amplified by the roar of the highway, always thick with young hitchhiking homewreckers. Karma circled overhead. She'd known it ever since she stole Leroy from his wife at 19, running wild. Now his heart was failing, and Penny was tired of waiting on fate to pay her back. If his wandering eye landed on some younger thing before it quit for good, everything could slip through her fingers. She wasn't about to let that happen. Not after all the years she'd spent swallowing her pride, and his temper. If she could catch his eye again, just once before the end, she could retire her apron for good and start living on her own terms. Last week, she'd taken counsel from Nancy Kowalski, the trailer park's self-made oracle. Everyone at Noah's Ark Park leaned on Nancy in grief, lust, or ethanol stupors. She swore by heels and fishnets from Thrifty's Love Shop, the kind with seams that ran like wicked little lies down the backs of your legs. "From the inside out, honey," she said, smoke pouring through her teeth like prophecy. "My power? I get turned on by my own smoke show. Ever since I got hips and tits, I've been my own aphrodisiac." Her eyes twinkled as she pursed a crimson halo around her cigarette. Penny listened, elbows stuck to the bleach-slick table, haunted by years of tears, gin, and whatever shame wouldn't wash off. She pictured the other housewives who came for love advice, and the husbands who stumbled in by nightfall. Nancy's magic was wrapped in a tangle of morality and arrogance, like the stinging nettles she coaxed from the scrub out back. Their sting feared, their medicine overlooked. That night, Penny dreamt in a way she never had before. She herself doubled, body and ghost, split between two realms. One floated above while the other crawled beneath her bed, crouched at the edge of a world that shimmered in shadow. It was ominous, and though she knew she was dreaming, she had none of the control lucid dreamers brag about. Beneath the bed, in the half-light of a watery reflection, a secret underworld opened its mouth and called to her. When she woke, she could still feel the pull of its strange gravity. "Grab me the sugar, Leroy drawled the next morning, his accent stripped of any southern comfort. She tipped the amber substitute into her coffee anyway, and slipped the sugar bowl across the table, though it was always within his reach. She used to like that he'd ask, just so he could call her sweet. Over the years, though, the charm thinned. She could see the patriarchal codes stitched beneath it. Penny no longer giggled or played schoolgirl when he patted her ass. She was shedding her indifference now. Something else was brewing lately, and the bad weather that used to melt away with a little dilution had started to bleed its indigo haze beyond the confines of her mind. Just yesterday, when Leroy tied an apron around her from behind while she cooked and started chafing her neck with kisses, she sank into the front row seat again. She'd been visiting this place for the last months, a private theater in her mind where she watched her own life from a warm pocket of time-space. Here was the only place she found reprieve from all the performing and yes dears, the aching heels, the tired jokes. A place where she didn't need to suck in, sit pretty, or play with bullshit she didn't believe in. It was her secret batch of moonshine nobody else could brew, hers alone, until it wasn't. Leroy cinched the apron strings too tight, pulled her into him with his sandpaper face and fermented breath. She felt snared, frozen, and then the theater, the dark screen, the shapes of bodies moving like shadows underwater. From her seat, she watched her own body reach for the fork, lift it from the pan of sausages, the oily steel glinting under the kitchen light. Despite her inner gasp, her desperate shout from the front row, "Stop!" the fork plunged into Leroy's arm. Crimson bled into the amber pork fat, each drop sizzling in the cast iron, curling up sickly sweet smoke. Leroy's face twisted with betrayal and pain. And Penny, from her theater seat, realized she had crossed the line between spectator and actor. The dream had not been a warning, but a beginning, something feral rising from the dark. Her animal body was winning over her calculating mind. She could no longer lean on poise or posture or the brittle glamour of seduction. No, something else was calling now. Something she had kept tucked away her whole life until this moment. Her hand, oily, trembling, became a beast. Again and again it struck until crimson spilled thicker than grease, until his sound was nothing but gurgled air. She watched, unblinking, as her body dragged Leroy out back. The night air clung its secret shroud around this sin. She shoveled, clawed, and heaved until nettle roots tangled around him like eager hands. The earth swallowed him whole. A feast and offering from the underworld had been made, and Penny had earned her freedom to return to the light again. Weeks passed. The nettles grew lush, high and green, their sting almost sweet with their new inheritance. Penny sat out back one morning, coffee steaming in her hands, no longer a ghost, but returned to her body. The theater was gone, the stage struck. All that remained was the hum of summer insects and the soft rustle of leaves over her secret. She sipped slowly as a shiny new trailer backed into the lot across the lane. An old bachelor climbed out, stretching like he meant to stay a while. Penny let a smile curl her lips, wondered if he liked breakfast meats.